Right, continuing with this story, the sociopath, psychopathic woman, this one, what is Patrick? Well, it sounds like, why is Patrice? Whatever. Gagne. What's an invasion question you want to ask me? So she said she would like to ask invasive questions to the interviewer. And she says, why are you interested in me? Why are you interested in sociopathy? I'm not, but I have to be sort of to deal with certain topics and to make it clear to people, because such people are problematic in society. Not if they're single and in a position that they're just working for themselves or doing some job or something, but they are problematic in positions of power in particular, in any position of power. My view is, and I've stated it in several places, and I think in one of my videos, if you do not understand other people and or you do not care about other people, you should not be allowed to be in any position of power. Let's see. Talk to me about your darkness. I'm not expecting answers. I'm not expecting answers question is weird, but it's really the same as everything else. It's like emotion poor. It's I understand it. And I know what it is. She's not expecting answers because she has no emotions or barely any. You want to get into it? Oh yes, I find neurotypical people absolutely delightful. Possibly this one. Most are not interested, actually. So she is not representative of really all psychopaths, etc. They just don't give a shit. The reasons, I'll give you two reasons why I'm interested. So this is the interviewer again. So that there's a style difference, and I got a bit confused. But at the end it says that it was created from what it says. This interview has been edited and condensed for clarity from 2 conversations. Yeah, and I felt that this was probably here approximately, but maybe it's in another way. But I felt there was a style difference here, and got a little bit confused over who was the interviewer. I thought this text could have written almost by her. Okay, let's continue. So this is the interviewer. I've sent a book, start reading. Opening involves you as a second grader stabbing a child in the head with a pencil. Readers will be interested in this. Why? So there's a mercenary quality to my interests. Then also there are times I've wondered if the skills that I've learned from doing my job over the years are basically just forms of interpersonal manipulation. What do you mean wondered if? Just think about it. You know it yourself, you idiot. And I was curious to talk to you as a roundabout way of exploring the question for myself. Where does that question reach you? I don't know, what is the point of this? Yeah, okay, continue. What do you mean? Yeah, exactly. What do you mean? do you manipulate people in order to execute your job? So he's doing certain things in his work, and he's wondering, wait a minute, am I doing perhaps something that I shouldn't be doing? And then she says, do you manipulate people in order to execute your job? If he knew that already, he would not say this. Of course, he's thinking about, and he has not properly analyzed himself. I think there's a degree of manipulation, but what do we really mean by manipulation? Is manipulation by definition negative, or does manipulation just mean intentionally creating a certain interpersonal context? Well, you should know that. And that's why he also doesn't know himself whether he's a manipulator. I mean, this is just stupid. Manipulation is by definition negative, yes. You, in certain ways, how should I say it? In certain circumstances, it can be useful and can be good. For example, trying to get a criminal to confess to something. But in most situations, manipulation, and then I wouldn't call it, would you call it manipulation? It's more like maybe tricking someone. Manipulation is bad because it's making someone else do something or say something or believe something. And what you want normally in life is reality, and not to get someone else do what you say or do what or think as you think he should think, something like that. Manipulation. Come on, you should know that. This is something that she could have said. That sounds like a justification to me, which means you're sidestepping shame or sidestepping guilt, she says. This whole thing is weird. That sort of confused me, because I thought it could have been reversed. And then it would actually make more sense. That she said this as a psychopath, and he says this as the interviewer. So as if she was now interviewing the interviewer. Okay, doesn't matter further. I disagree. That would be like saying therapists are always guilty of manipulation. Just so we're clear, when I said justification, I wasn't trying to say what you're doing was bad. I don't think anything you're doing is bad. Yes, you're manipulating to a certain extent, to your point, in the way that I might manipulate someone in therapy, but I would never feel the need to justify it, and your justification came so quickly. That's why I was like, hey, what's happening that you felt the need to defend your answer? Yeah, this whole section is a bit weird. I don't think this is really useful, this whole section. Okay, I'm just going to leave it because it's nonsense. It's not interesting. We don't usually say we have to justify a positive thing. That's probably why I reacted that way. What else? Yeah, you're doing something to get something, and it's not meant in a negative way. That's important. How much of the dark side of sociopathy can you relate to? I can't. And if you don't have an easy answer for that, was it comforting to read out somebody who was open with their experience of being fully immersed in their darkest impulses and a lot of times carrying them out? No, I'm not interested in that. And these people, how should I say it? Need a kick in the nuts in general. And that's also how you restrain them. As she said herself, she would not do certain things because it has certain consequences. That's how you deal with criminals in general, with education, with raising children, etc. That's very important. Well, I would say that one question that the book raised for me was the extent to which a lot of behaviors people could be considered sociopathic, and we just don't understand them that way. Why would you need to? Plenty of us do things that we know are bad because the transgressions feel good. I think this is not interesting. It feels good. Why? I think it feels good because it feels free. To do something bad, it's like I don't give a The consequences, be it internal guilt or getting thrown in jail, happen after. No, this is not true. This is wrong. A lot of times these people do not actually think at all about consequences. And it's very clear to see if you look at police videos. They do not look at the consequences. Nobody thinks I'm going to get caught. They all think I will get away with it. Unless the capture rate is like 95%, then people think, I'm not. This is also why, for grown-ups in particular, giving harsher sentences doesn't work. It doesn't change anything in preventing further crime or preventing crime in others. What prevents crime is actually one thing, and it is improving the ratio of solved cases or grabbed perpetrators. So if 95% of the people committing certain crimes get caught, then that will drop the people who are doing that. They think, yeah, I'm going to get caught. If it's 50%, then they'll think, yeah, I'll get away with it. And if it's even lower, yeah, forget about it. And if there are no consequences, yeah, you've seen what happened in the last few years in the USA in particular. That's what happens. This is not about the consequences, but the chance that you think that you will face consequences. And that it feels good, yeah, that's also a factor, but very important is the consequences, that there's a certain chance you won't get caught, and if the chance is high enough that you won't get caught, they won't even think about it. One piece of advice I could give to anyone who sees themselves in my description is to find an external philosophy that works for you. I liked karma. It seemed clean. This is so emotion poor. It seemed clear and clean. It seemed organized. Find that philosophy for yourself. We're not going to get it to rely on internal checks and balances. This is just hilarious. The emotion poorness drips from this. I realized I didn't quite understand what you meant when you said you can experience empathy just differently. What is empathy to you? Eventually, as I got older, what I started to realize is that if I can connect to something that I can internalize naturally, I use that as a bridge to broaden my empathic response. Yeah, but that's just learned behavior. For example, I know a relative knows a guy who's autistic. He went to the hospital. His wife was in there. And his wife knows he's autistic or Asperger, some form of it. And he asks her how she feels, etc. She's happy. And then she realizes, maybe she read something, that was learned response from a therapy session. And it really disappointed her. And I've seen that as well with autists, for example. Then I got annoyed long ago. I let everything slide, maybe 15 years or so. But before that, I got annoyed. And some guy made some comments. I thought, it's really annoying. And obviously that came through in my response, and he apologized, but there was no apology for something. I may have said this this was a bad thing to say, or I may something like that, or I made a mistake here. Nothing like that. It's obvious that this guy did not understand what he did was wrong, but he knew something was wrong, and so he apologized. And I knew that was learned behavior from therapy or something, and the best thing to do, he was taught, was to apologize. And I learned from this relative that that's actually how it happens. She has more experience with such people and with therapists, etc. So what I knew, what I was almost certain about, was actually correct. Let's see. I use a bridge to broaden my empathic response. Yes, learned behavior. Have strong feelings for pets. That's a great bridge. You would feel upset if something happened to this animal that you care about. Let's extend that feeling to someone close to you. Let's extend that feeling. Strong feelings for pets. That's actually interesting. Okay. Extend that feeling. Is it cognitive understanding that you're describing, or an emotional response? At first it's cognitive, then over time that does grow into the emotion. It's the understanding of it that leads to the feeling. This is what I mentioned in one previous video. That is the same that I say, which is about my list of life. So that's actually interesting. which is that, for example, with worrying, I never worry. And someone said about that, the person who had been in the cult with Shunya Murti. I want to do an interview with that person, but yeah, I have no idea yet when it's going to be, so it's been delayed. And anyway, the person made a comment that it'll be very difficult. It may take a lifetime to get to there. And I thought, no, you can get there far quicker. You can do it via repeating what you should do. And then from knowing it, it becomes sort of awareness. And then it becomes a feeling. And when it's a feeling, it becomes your nature. And you understand, but there's another step in between. But this is actually correct and interesting. And so I use that, but expand it in my list of life to explain how to get to a state where you don't worry, don't fear anything, etc. Multiple times a day. Wait a minute. Yeah. You need to do it all the time. Great. Now imagine if that's your first instinct, but you understand that you have to be like, oh yeah, I understand that I have to care. That's cognitive empathy. You're not faking it, but you're internalizing it. Yeah, but actually I think this is actually correct, but really these people don't have proper feelings. So this is a really shallow type of feeling. And maybe this is actually, she says, yeah, I have strong feelings for pets. What do you mean by strong feeling? For someone like me, perhaps that is like extremely shallow feeling. Let's see, you're not faking it, you're internalizing, that's your first take on something, and then maybe you get to know the situation better, or you find something about the situation that you can anchor to, and then the feeling kicks in. Not the feeling kicks in after a while if you the feeling becomes is part of your nature. Then it's not something that you can switch on and off. That's something very different. Do you see sociopathy as beneficial to you? I think my sociopathy is entirely beneficial to me. Yeah, right. I see my friends struggling with guilt. Yeah. On an almost daily basis, I think. I'm glad I don't have that. This is amusing. It's so simplistic. It's like I was thinking similarly about the conversations in Fountainhead, the film from 1949, based on the book by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was a psychopath who wrote what I call the Psychopath's Bible, which is Atlas Shrugged, which is about justifying selfishness as being good for the greater good, which is absolutely ridiculous. And the video I mentioned in one, or showed also in one of my previous videos, criticized Ayn Rand and said that some of the people there in discussions about things towards the end, when things were going wrong, people were leaving her. They mentioned that she was unbelievably unempathetic. And I thought, yeah, but don't you see that immediately? You see that immediately from her face and how everything that she writes. That's a psychopath. She doesn't care about anyone, except herself. Let's see, okay. The psychological characteristics of sociopathy are not inherently bad. Oh, yes, they are. These types of people are the ones who start wars and who create a lot of problems in society. As head of companies, for example, they run companies into the ground and don't give a shit about anyone. I've heard more stories, but I've seen it in many places. Doesn't matter. Lack of remorse and shame and guilt has been misappropriated to mean this horrible thing. Yeah, what the hell are you talking about? Look at what she has done in her youth and how she talks about various things. She doesn't give a shit about anyone. She only does not do crime because she has rationalized karma and other things as then I won't have bad consequences for myself. That's everything. Just because I don't care about you doesn't mean I want to cause you more pain. I don't care. I like that I don't have guilt because I'm making my decisions based on logic. Absolutely not. Based on truth. Also not. As opposed to ought or should. Almost nobody bases their decisions on logic and truth. You can look at politics, as I mentioned. Left wing, right wing, all of them are shit. They are all good on one topic, bad on another topic. It's because they're not looking for the truth, and they're not reasoning according to logic. And autists and psychopaths especially don't reason according to logic or truth. It's really crazy that she thinks this. And the reason why they don't reason based on logic is because they can't properly reason. And that's because of their being not caring about other people. There's a flip side. I don't have that natural emotional connection to people, but I've never had those. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Yeah, if you don't know what it's like, then you won't miss it. But also, you can't really see. My feeling is very strong, and it's you get more, and it's more like normal. It's not really comparable. Yeah, it's comparable, but not the same. I mean, not comparable in the sense of it's nothing like it. Just because I love differently doesn't mean my love doesn't count. Yeah, you don't know what love is. That was clear in your statements. Love is not a symbiotic relationship. That's absolute. That's long-term transactional relationship. Anyway, that was it. So in 2 parts. Maybe you find this interesting. Not interesting, such people, and avoid them like the plague, I would say. And I've had more than enough experiences with such people, and you can see them in politics also. I've experienced them in dealings with, for example, Airport Schiphol. Absolutely avoid them at all costs. That's it for now. Bye.